Welcome to Skinfluence. This is that podcast where we have been waiting for very long to launch, and it took us a lot of brainstorming to get this on stage right now in front of all of you. So, myself, Dr. Marjorie, and I'm here to talk about all the happening things in skin and updates and all the aesthetic procedures that you can do. And I think this is going to be very interesting now.
Oh, finally, the podcast is here.
Yeah.
Hi, Madhuri. I need to introduce myself to others. I'm Dr. Aparna Krishnappa. I'm a consultant dermatologist. Yes, let's begin the show today.
Yeah. So today we thought to come up with something very commonly experiencing topic and the concern, that is, I think, melasma.
Yeah.
For Indian skin, it's quite common. In like introducing about melasma and how it is going to influence, how it's going to bother, the impact on it on a person, and also how is it different from other countries' skin, and how it is different in Indian skin. So what is your opinion on how melasma actually acts? Like, how does it come?
Okay, so let's. I just want to say that very in a simply put way, skin types are like 6. It goes from the different grades of white. But we belong from somewhere from skin type 4 to 6, and where we have a lot of pigmentation cells. Melasma is something we see it in every skin type, but more prominently now we are witnessing a lot of melasma cases. In my OP, at least there will be, if there are 10 cases, at least I would be seeing 2 to 3 cases of melasma, and it's very, very common. Yeah, I think what we need to know, where the trigger starts in a person and what age conditions and which gender is more affected, and how do we prevent this. So I think getting to know of all these topics on melasma and having some kind of knowledge about this will prevent to certain grade. And definitely approaching a dermatologist or a skincare expert for this kind of advices is a way lot better and safer, is what I feel, than going and researching something you do I saw this thing and on the social media, let's try it. So yeah,
I got that point. What you're trying to say, she's talking about all the self DIYs.
Yes.
Okay, the influencers, the skin influencers. Nothing against them personally, but melasma is a condition, and it's a clinical condition where there is a hyperpigmentation. That is, it's going to get darker than the normal color of the skin. So not everybody will be able to assess that fast, right? So you have to figure out how it is, and the doctor can assess better. And not everything is going to work, and not every treatment is going to work for every kind of person with melasma also. The most common I think confusion that everybody has is melasma is a pigment. There are other pigments also. How is it like different from the other pigments? What's the basic difference between melasma and any other a strong hyperpigmentation? Like, how would you say it in a normal person? How can they understand that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a person comes and says that he or she has been having this pigmentation issues, and the major hint what we get is the site, where exactly is the pigmentation, and where the patient started noticing when and where. So when they start saying that, I started having a light dark spot over the nose, and then started spreading over the on the cheek area, both the malar areas, what we call. And then they say, some patients come and say that they started noticing over the upper lip, forehead, sometimes all these areas. That gives a hint, that gives a way to know that it's a melasma. Also, there is another skin conditions where it also is an indicator for the internal diseases, like something what we call SLE, which is very common. So again, so the photosensitivity, and again some other kidney parameters, that is a different issues which comes with the joint pains and all of that. So that's another hint to go about for the pigmentation. So that's completely different. When patient comes and says it's purely only pigmentation, I do not have any other issues or anything. But another thing is that if it's a woman, normally it's very common during pregnancy. Yeah. and they what we call as chloasma.
Yeah.
The same kind of pigmentation gets triggered over the face. So
Yes.
that's another hint. Because of the hormonal changes that
Changes.
develop all of this. The second
Yes.
thing is can be during the menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing is what I have noticed is that mother having a pigmentation, some kind of a melasma, and also the daughters or the sons, they also come back and saying that yes,
They-
my mother
my
had it
mother.
and I also have it.
So
The live example is me. My mother had it, so I've had it. I've been treating it myself, and with
Yeah.
and recently I gave birth, so I also had a pigmentation,
Pigmentation that-
which I'm doing my best to not
Not
increase
have
it.
it.
Yeah, so
Right.
yeah. So melasma. Your question was how do we
How to
differentiate,
differentiate,
right?
yes.
So that's the pigmentation. We see it over the face, like I said, chin, forehead, and the malar areas. Other kind of a pigmentation can be again over the chest and back and body areas. So that can be because of if there is any kind of skin, like example fungal infection or eczemas, they always heal with the spots.
Yeah,
Correct.
true.
So that is another. That's how the post-inflammatory
Post-inflammatory,
hyperpigmentation is
yes.
what we call, and that can also appear over the face. But that can be in the form of spots, which gives a history
Yes.
that patient might have had acne
before.
prior.
Yeah.
So that is one form of pigmentation.
The very commonly asked question for melasma is what triggers the most? I think if we jot it down broadly, we can classify them into stress, number one, and also photo damage, that is your sun exposure, and genetics, like you said, like what causes it, sisters, mothers having, and then fathers. So I think it comes to even genetics. And what are the additional things that you can add on to this cause?
So if it's a woman, like a young female who is between 25 to 40 or something, they come and say that okay, I've been having these pigmentation issues. So the first question I would ask is that did you ever have first, the family history is what I rule out, and the second thing is the thyroid. So thyroid is just nothing but it's just another hormone which gets secreted in the same area in the brain, right? So whenever there is some kind of a thyroid issues, the pigmentation also, the pigmentation cells are also kind of disturbed and all of that, and then that's when I suspect if there is any hypothyroid. This is what I've seen. Second, anemia. Patients who've been having that also, iron deficiency and all of that. And the third, if the same, she's a reproductive aged woman, right? So if I would have asked, like, if she ever took oral contraceptive pills.
Yes.
So this is nothing but hormonal. So it's playing some games with the hormones, and then what happens, like progesterone shooting up, estrogen shooting up. It can again trigger thing.
So the most commonly asked question another, what causes and what are the triggers of melasma? I think broadly they can be firstly major sun. It can also be stress, not using sun protection.
The two major stages in women, that is one is the pregnancy and the menopause. So we know the hormones go crazy during that time, and then the only thing is that these hormones get released from the brain wherever the pigment hormones are also being released. So that's why most of the people ask me how are my hormones related to this. It's only because our brain, there's one center which releases all these things and regulates. So one is affected, another one is also being affected. True. So it's very much very common for this to be happening. So menopause and pregnancy. But with pregnancy, sometimes 50% of the cases it might fade away, considering the fact that if they take care of their skincare too very early on. But menopause, what I have seen is that women here are like, okay, I think I'm done with everything, so now I'm aging. 50, they start taking 40, 50. I'm like, I'm aging now. Why do I have to take? Not everyone, but at least 50% of women do that.
Yes, they do.
And when it starts coming, they think it's just like some kind of a some kind of a patch or something. It might go, is what they think.
And they also do DIYs all their grannies.
They start doing all of this. I did this. Why don't you do this? I do aloe vera. I do papaya. I do onion or
Yeah.
whatnot. So I
Yeah.
feel like all these things are quite expensive, and I think it's better we consume it than applying it.
Yeah,
What do you
true.
think?
Please use kitchen items in the kitchen.
Only to
Not-
eat. But few things are like hydrating, but
Yeah.
know what you're using, and
True.
sometimes that can itself cause some kind of irritation, and that can become a trigger again for the melasma. So
Yeah.
be aware of what you're using. Yeah, so these women, like, they before they know it, the one thing about melasma is before you know it, it's spreading too fast. It starts very slow, but it spreads very fast, is what I
True.
have seen.
Yeah.
So it takes about, for example, 6 months for it to start appearing.
Yes.
But to start spreading, give it 1 month, and you not even 1 month, 3 days you stand in sun, and I think the
Yeah,
patches are
just-
all there.
yes,
So yeah, I think women in that, and men is because they use lot of this hair wax,
true.
some kind of hair colors.
Yeah,
these
hair
things,
color
and
is something we should be considering. They could trigger a melasma.
yeah, those things can be triggering point. And for them, like, of course, like, no sun protection.
No sun
like,
protection.
Yeah, it's a stigma that, I'm a man, why should I use sunscreen?
Yeah.
I'm not a woman. That, this it still happens. So do you get to see men who come and say that, I can't use
Yes,
sunscreen
yes.
in front of people because people are going to judge me, and
Yes.
I'm not a woman, is that what they say? I mean, I'm just saying it because these are the things I get to hear in my OP, and
True,
they
true.
need to be discussed. So do you also see them?
Yes, of course, yes. I mean, the younger gen now, they are very well aware. They exactly know. They are okay with, taking care of the skin. They are okay with, even if we give any prescription and suggest them, they're at least making an attempt to do it because they are aware of what is the importance of taking care of their skin and the routine. But the older the age gets, the more resistant they are towards our instructions and also the prescriptions, because firstly they feel it's a stigma, and it's like, no, my friends don't use, my circle doesn't use, and not everybody is okay with that. So it gives us that it's not like we have to repeatedly you have to use. It gives us that point where we have to force them to use,
Exactly.
that happens. And yes, they are resistant, and they tell us right at that point, saying that, no, I don't think so, I can use so many, doctor, please just give me one thing.
Yeah,
That
one
I
thing,
one thing
exactly.
that when it is all in one. No, there
Yeah.
can't be one thing,
Yeah.
because skin has multiple layers, and you
Yeah.
cannot give just one thing for
Yeah.
all the layers,
Yeah.
and it's not possible.
Yeah, and guess what? I think they also expect all that one in a one in a face wash.
In a face wash, yes.
So I'm like, okay. Unfortunately, now I'm also getting to see that in the market now.
Yeah.
The face washes coming in, having these kind of lightening agents and depigmenting
true.
things. But I generally do not believe in it, and it's another gimmick that patients or people
Yes,
can
true.
buy it over the counter,
True,
but.
true.
It doesn't work because
No.
cleanser is just a cleansing. It does only a cleansing job,
Cleansing
nothing
job,
else.
nothing else.
It does not even penetrate and does any good to your skin.
Yes,
inside.
of course. Why? Because your cleansing means it's a cleanser, and you're washing it off.
Exactly.
You're not even
So
keeping
where
it on
is
your
it?
face. How is it possible
Yeah.
that you're going to get, there is some active ingredient which is going to work for some time? It's not even 1-2 minutes,
Yeah.
maximum of 3 minutes, and then you're washing it.
Yeah.
So it's that common sense. I
Yeah.
think people have to know this, and they have to understand that
Yeah.
it's just a cleanser.
It's just a cleanser.
It's just a cleanser.
So yeah, it's too it's too hard to convince them
Yeah.
in terms of use this, use that. Like coming to that pigmentation in women, like I said, when people start noticing that what happened to your face, there's something
It's
wrong.
very rapid.
That's when
Yeah.
they land up with a dermatologist or
Yeah.
like when the expert saying that
True.
people are saying that my skin is become like this, and I feel a little socially awkward. I do not want to say it. I have one personally, I know a person like who did not step out to the events.
Yeah.
And who did not go
There
out to the
is-
events, and that's none other than my mom. When
There
I was
is a
doing my
social stigma.
MBBS
True,
times,
true.
she literally stopped going out. She did not go saying that. And there was one day I asked her why, because she loves going out to these functions and all
Yeah.
of that. And she's cries out and saying that people are talking about the patches. And that's when we thought, okay, we need help. And
Yeah.
I took her to a dermatologist, and then we got a good regimen, best regimen possible, and then monthly ones procedure and following up with every month. So it did great on her skin, and it definitely did not do it over a night. Changes did not happen over a night.
Yeah.
It took minimum 6 to 8 months for us to see, for herself and for me to see the change. And the best part was the dermatologist explained us what it is and how long it takes. So what I want to tell all the patients or the viewers is that have some patience when you have melasma.
True.
And do not go over the counter or go ask your pharmacist like to give me something and land up in some kind of unsafe treatments, which will do wonders in one day, but then which can go downhill for another 1 more year, 2 more years, where we cannot even correct it with the lasers.
Yes,
That's when they land up. So be aware of what you're using it.
Take home point, please be patient till the whole regime or whole the treatment is completed. Number one. Second thing is, please believe the doctor and dermatologist. When they give you something, there should be a reason behind, and not all the products on the counter are going to work for you or your skin. So let's go more detail into types of melasma. Broadly, they are classified into dermal, epidermal, dermal, and mixed. So how are these different from each other, and how the treatment is different from each other?
It's very simple. It's coming with the name, like you're saying epidermal. So epidermal is just nothing but it's a top layer of the skin, right? No, whatever we are seeing is epidermis.
Yes, epidermal.
So it's a thin layer, very thin layer. So sometimes the pigmentation starts, the cells, the melanin deposition can happen only over the epidermis. Now what happens? This is little light brown in color.
Yeah.
Just very light brown in color. And sometimes it can mimic freckles, what we have, freckles and all of this. Sometimes that can be also be confused as melasma. But
especially when they are very small spots.
Yeah, the small spots. I'll come to that. So the first part, like what we see, epidermal is like it's a light brown patches, very light brown patches just on the top. And then when we know it, and the time duration would be very less, how much time they would have developed in. And then we give a regimen, like the skin treatments, not treatments, the creams, what we topicals I suggest, and they can use it, and within no time, probably in 6 to 8 weeks, they start noticing some good changes, that it's fading away. So that's a good timing for it to respond. Now coming to the dermal type, the pigmentation comes in the form of little darker.
So it's deeper layer.
It's deeper layers, and it's little stubborn for the treatments of the prescription based. Okay, but the prescription based can be done for the maintenance on daily regimen. At the same time, they would require chemical peels or the lasers or in some kind of these treatments, monthly ones, which helps them treat better, respond better and little faster, because sometimes dermal melasma takes very long time, like around 2 years or 1 year. So to augment the process, we ask the patient to come monthly once, get something done, like whatever is suitable. Now coming to the procedures, I would not say this is for it's not standard. Go for chemical peel and then laser, nothing like that.
Nothing.
We go with what patients' needs are, like how affordable
and
they are,
how they respond,
and how often they can come to me for the treatments. There are multiple factors we keep in mind before we ask them for any treatments in the clinic. So it's just not that I have this, so I want to do this and I want to do this. No, what's best for the patient and how convenient is for the patient, we try to adjust according to them. And so dermal melasma, like I said, it takes a bit time and it's a bit resistant for the creams. And not resistant, takes extra time. That's it. Now coming to the mixed, it's like both. Epidermal and dermal. It can be there on top, on bottom, and it takes its own free time to take away and to respond to the treatment.
So it basically consumes patience.
Yes,
it does.
Yeah. So so I think your doctor will know what type of pigmentation the patient is having, and accordingly they'll prescribe and they'll tell you what treatments are best in their care, and then follow up. So like I said, when I say the prescription based, the maintenance is always important. Whenever they come to us for any kind of treatments, Some patients, they come and they're like, I'm coming for chemical peel, why do you have to use these creams at night? So monthly ones is much better than using daily creams.
Yeah.
So, and they stop using the daily creams
The
and
daily
they expect
creams,
wonders happening only
with just
overnight
one.
in clinic treatments. So I normally explain all my patients, as much as my 50%, if my prescription does job for 50%, my clinic treatments will do job for 50%. So it
Yes.
should be combined together. So you don't put in an effort everyday basis, then
you
I
don't
think
get to
in
see.
clinic treatments will be of not help, that great help. So yeah, so these are the types of melasma I was just talking about, superficial, deep,
Yeah.
and this thing. When I say deep, sometimes it can be there are something called the lentigines or freckles, which are more prominent in the type 3, type 4, where little white to grey
Right,
kind of a skin
skin.
type. So they will have this kind of pigmentation, but sometimes they come and say that it's melasma, but we will know it better because it's deep-seated
Deep-seated.
pigmentation, and that is hereditary again.
Yes.
It comes in the families, and sunlight is again a trigger. So yeah, so these are the type of, and the treatments will go by the types.
So now let's just go into bursting the myths.
Oh, I love this.
Of
Busting
melasma.
myths.
Right. Number one, when we searched for the myth of melasma is melasma contagious? Okay, even before we start this, I would say no. It is not contagious, it's not going to spread, but she will explain it, please.
Definitely not. We know that it's just not. If you know the mechanism, what is melasma?
Yeah.
It's just nothing but there are melanocytes which are there in the skin, and that's the one which produces melanin. So sometimes these melanocytes act little too triggered, so they keep producing spots of melanin, they'll go deposit on the skin, and that is something which is there inside your own skin. Okay, so
individual.
Somebody touching that patches, somebody touching there and touching other part of the area. No, definitely not, because
these are not organisms like bacteria, fungal, where it's going to spread.
Yes.
So it is just your own body cells which is
Yeah.
going to deposit melanin in certain area, and it doesn't spread.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Okay. The second one is melasma a permanent condition?
No, definitely not. Given the fact that it's a maintenance which is permanent. Okay,
Right.
but I would not say that I'm gonna give these creams. Just use it for 6 weeks. Your pigmentation will disappear. You will never have to
That's
see
not
it again.
possible.
No, not
That's
possible.
not possible.
Like I said, the mechanism.
Yeah.
Now, what is the trigger? Sunlight.
Sunlight.
And we can never ever go away
Block
from
the
sunlight, and we
sunlight,
cannot
yes.
just wear some blanket and sit in one room and try
Forever.
to avoid it. So we exist in this world and exist in this environment, and but we know what exactly we can do. We can still step out, but still with a lot of precautions and everything.
Yeah.
So you can just use your night regimen, the skin the depigmenting treatments or the creams which are being given. You can use it legit very regularly, and like moisturizing, cleansing, and all of that. Definitely, if you take that extra care, your pigmentation, your melasma is at bay. You can just keep it at bay. You do not have to worry so much. But there is something like you don't care about I'm traveling, so I'm just gonna be carefree for this week. I'll give it you come back and your melasma is back, and like I said, the mechanism is in your own skin.
Yeah.
So I wish I could remove the mechanism was somewhere else, but this is in your own skin. So it's all happening there. So I won't be able to
It's in your
stop you
hands.
that if at all you don't use my treatments. So that's it. So maintenance is something I would say that's permanent. Okay,
Right.
but like I said,
The condition is not permanent.
it's not permanent.
Okay. The third myth is only women get melasma. Is that true?
No, I've
It's
seen.
not. Yes. Even I've
good
seen a
number
lot
of
of
men having
melasma.
Yeah, that's only because like I said, I just previously I told you what are the causes
Yes.
in women. But for men, like I said, most of them will be on the bikes, do not
yes.
wear any kind of sun protection. They're
Yeah.
working
And
in the
occupationally, they are more into the dust and
exactly.
environment.
even indoors, they're constantly exposed to the phones
Yes.
and laptops.
Yes, true.
Like I said previously, sunlight is not the only culprit. We have
Now
other
we have
radiations coming
gadgets.
on every time.
Yeah.
So we need to be protected indoors as well. So outdoors, yes, of course, it's
Yes.
UV light. Indoors, these infrared and blue light. So
There
they're
is a chance that melasma might
so
just-
yeah, so the men are equally they're
Equally
exposed to all
prone.
of this, so the pigmentation can start in them. And most of them, I see that they go to a salon and get some salon treatments,
And they expect
like
melasma to
massage
disappear.
and and the scrubs. They do a lot of scrubbing and something because they want this kind of facial or scrubbing, monthly once or whenever they go for haircut. I've seen at least few men I know they go for haircut. I'm like, might as well get some facial done on my face and like do something. So what happens? The person starts doing this because of the friction, right? And that kind of a pressure. Definitely, there is a trigger for the pigment cells to produce more melanin in that area because of the friction. So yeah, they're bound to have
excess exfoliation that happens.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think they're equally there to get melasma. The causes can be different, but yes, men also do get melasma.
Another myth is, can regular exfoliation lighten the melasmal patches?
Of course, yes. I say that because sometimes what happens, there is pigmentation happening and this melanocytes continuously providing more melanin to the top layer of the skin. So what does this exfoliation actually does is it helps in removing the top layer of the skin. So once that happens, the repair work starts. What is this repair work? Is that collagen production, which helps in lightening up these areas, and then wherever there is a pigmentation, that also starts fading
off.
With the exfoliation, those cells that product which was there, that also starts coming out. So those dead cells with the pigmentation comes out.
So it starts looking a lot lighter.
Yeah. But I would not say regular, like everyday exfoliation is not something I would recommend. At least in my experience, minimum of every 2 weeks or max for monthly exfoliation is good. Too much is too bad. Again, again that can cause different problems. Yeah, that can
more
cause
melasma.
Exactly.
There's a chance.
Exactly.
Right. So I get to ask not just patients, like when some of the doctors do use some oral medications to get rid of melasma, especially I think oral tranexamic acid is what we use to get rid. I don't know how much of it is going to help, but when we put the patients on these oral medications, they suddenly have a question mark. This is a cream. Can cream only correct? Why should I be taking the tablet? So how would you want to just bridge that? Like, how will that help? And is there any explanation for this?
Yeah, of course, but I think the first time the patient comes and so again it's a grade of melasma. So it's now the patient comes and says, I've tried all the medications, like all the creams, all the lasers, and I've used these many sittings and all of that, and these many years I've had it, but still I do not see any kind of response. That's when I try to introduce the oral medications, just not at the first go, because I start very gently, like let's see, because there are a lot of patients who will definitely respond to the topicals better. So once they are okay, then we'll try to keep it at them. They're not happy, coming back after 3 months, they're saying it's still stubborn. So I reserve these kind of oral medications only when it's required. But considering the fact that it's not that it's not safe, it's definitely safe what we're giving, and there are no kind of side effects or anything.
If not required, why?
If not, exactly. We know exactly why do you want. You might respond. Like I said, superficial. You come to me with the superficial light patch melasma, just 1 or 2. I think the creams are good.
Would be good.
I see a deep-seated melasma right all over the face, over the forehead, and the patient has it over the upper lips and over the chin. So I would definitely give it like with the low dose. Oral medications, when we say that, even you take a lot of patients take D3 vitamin D tablets,
true,
and when they get paracetamol, when they get fever, they take paracetamol. Don't you consider the side effects of paracetamol? So what's more important for you to reduce the fever?
It's symptom.
So you just want to take paracetamol. It's the same way. You want to reduce the pigmentation. There is a tablet which does not cause any kind of side effects. But like I said, now paracetamol has its own kind of side effects or whatever. But we try to weigh the benefits more than the risk, right?
It's the same with the medications.
You are saying that you're not happy with any kind of thing. So I would consider giving oral medications. Then I try to introduce, and the counseling is very much important. And they're very free will to go if they don't want to use it and still want to be patient only with using. I leave it out with my patient. You're not comfortable, all right, we'll just try to do this. But when it's time, let's just talk about it. That's when I keep it for them.
So I want to ask you this. These skin influencers all over the media, Facebook, Instagram, whatnot, YouTube, and they suggest a lot of creams on the media, and then do you encounter the bad effect of with your patients ever? And they told you that someone told me on the YouTube or Instagram, so I've used it and then it happened.
Every day, every single day, there's at least one patient who comes and says that I've used this, they just open the phone and they show that she's the influencer and she's got a product, or she's been using the product, and then I also bought it and used it, but you know what, I developed this kind of a thing. But what I want to bust the myth here is her skin type is different, and she or he are making that kind of they're
and they're
collabing the product.
Exactly.
It's a work. They're trying to show that they're working for the product.
For the company.
Yes. So what you need to know as a viewer is, you just get the information, what is this, and try to ask your dermatologist or your skincare expert, is this safe? This is what I came across. So always have an expert opinion before you buy them. I'm not saying do not get influenced by them, because there's some, even if we don't we are going to watch them and we are going to still take, and there's something called intriguing. Everybody's interested in new things, right? Oh, let's see it. Okay, she had melasma, she used it, it's gone, so let me also. And I think everybody loves doing that, it's something we like doing it. So what I'm saying is, it's okay that you want to see the product, but before using it, before buying it, take an expert opinion. Is this good? Because your skin type is different, your skin issues are different. You might have some kind of internal some kind of like a thyroid state,
or any deficiencies,
dryness state, or eczema state, or irritant dermatitis state. So considering all this fact, it's better always to take an opinion, because if few ingredients in that thing might not be suitable for you. So that's why I always say, take an expert opinion. Even if you want to use that, it's okay, because I'm not like so against of all of them, but I'm saying it's always good. Just go approach your doctor or just ask them if this is good, but just know that the influencer is doing her job
of just influencing
that product,
but not actually treating your melasma now.
I in fact, I would want to give an example. I just had a 15-year-old boy coming, and then he just opens the phone and I follow this guy because I love him for his skincare. I love his fashion sense. I want to get influenced by him. I said, yes, good, you can go ahead. His fashion sense is really good. You have to be influenced, but I'm not okay with the skincare he's using, because his skin type is different. His skin type is different. Yours is different. Okay, and
also he might be from different location.
Exactly, and he's 30 plus and you're 15.
Age matters.
So don't go gaga about all of this, whatever they show. Take some things which you need to take, and you can leave some things untouched. And if you are a little intrigued, go to expert and then clear all your doubts, and then
Why is everybody using just a filter on the face? Please even filter the
Exactly. filter whatever you see on social media.
Right.
So
I think we had a great podcast session and a lot of information about melasma, how to go about it, and I love the podcast session. I think the information was so interesting. We'll have another topic again next time.
Can't wait to have another topic.
Right. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.